Hello and welcome to IP Study video lectures. Today we are going to discuss chapter number 23 of grade 7 social science. The chapter name is A Chain of Markets. In our previous chapter we discussed about what a market is. A market is a place where buyers and sellers meet. The seller wants to sell the product and the buyer wants to buy the product, right? So simple exchange of goods happens in a market. But we also discussed about the channel of distribution, where we know that from the producer to the consumer, a lot of people are involved, right? So in the previous class, we discussed how the producer sells the goods to the wholesaler, who sells it to the retailer, and the retailer sells the good to the end consumer, right? But it is not only these people who are involved in the production. Sometimes even the production process can involve many people. Through the example of a shirt, a cotton shirt, we will discuss how different people are involved in different stages of production, right? So let's start with the case study. This case study is about the cotton farmers in Kurnool. So the cotton farmers in Kurnool are responsible for growing cotton, and the end product for them is the cotton balls that they harvest, right? Now cotton is not an easy plant to grow. It takes about 7 months for cotton to be harvested. So it's a very long process in terms of other crops. So normally they require the raw material, they need fertilizers, they need seeds and all the other things which they require in their farm. So what they do is, these cotton farmers receive money from different traders. These traders provide the money to the cotton farmers, and when the harvest is ready, the cotton balls are sold to these traders, right? But the point to be noted here is that the traders normally make the larger share in the profit. The farmers who actually spend months in growing and harvesting the crop, they do not get a large amount of money. And keep this point in your mind, because we are going to come back to this point at the end of the chapter. So now the question comes, what happens to the cotton balls that are collected by the traders? We will study that in this particular case study. So these workers are employed at normally low wages by the traders to manufacture the yarn. Now what happens after the yarn is made? You need to turn it into cloth, right? So for this, farmers rely on weavers. Erode is one of the largest cloth markets in the world. Here it is a bi-weekly market where twice in a week the weavers come and sell their cloth. So what happens here is, normally putting out system is used. What exactly is putting out system? This term is given here, but the explanation is given here. Now, in the putting out system, the trader gives raw materials and some money in advance to the weavers. Fine. So what is the raw material in this particular case study? The raw material is the yarn, right? So the weavers turn this yarn into the finished product, in this case the cloth, right? So the weavers convert the yarn into clothes. This system is called the putting out system, in which the trader gives money in advance to the weaver or any other person to convert the raw material into finished goods. Now how this system is useful to the weavers? This system is useful to the weavers because the weavers is not bothered about buying the raw materials, right? So that task is done by the trader. Also the weaver is not worried about selling their product as well, right? So they can sell the product back to the trader, right? So in this way we can see that the weaver has this advantage, because the weaver is getting the raw material and the weaver is not worried about whom to sell. So that problem is solved for the weaver. But what is the problem that the weaver has? Weaver has two main problems. First of all, the weaver has to be dependent on the trader, right? Because the trader is providing the raw material, the trader is deciding the price of the product, so the weaver is dependent on the trader here. Also, the trader does not pay a very good amount of money to the weaver because the trader has given the advance to the weaver, so they normally negotiate it so well in their favor. So they keep a larger share of the profit as compared to the weaver, right? So the main problem with the putting out system is that weavers lack the control and they do not get a good amount of profit. To solve these problems of over-dependency of weavers on the merchants, many weavers formed a weavers cooperative. So now if we see in the putting out systems, weavers were heavily dependent on the merchants and they were not able to get the raw materials at a low price, and that is why their profit was reduced. Now what happens under this weavers cooperative? They can go to the merchant and get the raw materials, the yarn, at a lower price, and because they get it at a lower price and they can only, because they have formed a corporation, now they can decide at what price they want to sell it to the merchant. So now they are able to manage their profits and they are not dependent upon the merchants so much as was the case in the putting out system, right? Now many governments, many state governments also help the weavers cooperative. Free school uniform program initiated by the Tamil Nadu government is a very good example. So it's a great initiative where students are getting free school uniforms, and so it is good for the students, and also the weavers are getting benefit out of this because Tamil Nadu government is employing many weavers in providing these school uniforms, right? So this is how different state governments also help weaver cooperatives, right? Now let us come back to our story. What happens after the traders have bought the cloth from the weavers? Now this cloth is sold to the यार क्या कर रहा हूँ यार, गारमेंट एक्सपोर्टिंग फैक्ट्री ने बोला जाएगा. Now let us come back to our story. What happens after the traders have bought the cloth from the weavers? The traders sell this cloth to the export factories, garment exporting factories, who manufacture the shirts, right? So they use this cloth to manufacture the shirts in different designs, different colors, and after these shirts are made, these garment factories sell these clothes to the foreign buyers, right? So the foreign buyers are going to be the actual retailers who are going to sell this to the final customer. So when these shirts are sold to the foreign buyers, these shirts are to be sold in US and European markets, right? So now they have very strict guidelines on what kind of shirts they want. So these garment factories are under a lot of pressure on meeting these requirements. First of all, they want these to be on as low price as possible because these are big businessmen, they negotiate for the best price possible. Then of course they want the quality to be as fine as it is possible. So any kind of defect, any kind of delay is dealt with strictly, right? So they put penalties or they hold the money. So there is a lot of pressure on these garment factories to produce good quality of shirts. So basically now that the shirt is in the US market, we see that they are sold in the foreign currency. So what happens is that these shirts may be bought at 600 per shirt, but they are sold for as much as more than $40 or could roughly around 3,500, 3,600 rupees, right? So you can see why this cost is high, because they actually spend a lot of money on advertising, on storage and other things. Like this example is given of a shirt on how the purchase value might be 600 but it is sold at 3,600 or more than that in Indian rupee. You can see straight away that they make about 100% profit. So maybe they are spending 1,800 in total, but they are making 1,800 profit as well, right? So that's a very huge profit that these companies make. Now think about the profit that everyone in this distribution channel makes. This brings us to the topic of market and equality. think about all the people that we have discussed. So we see how the foreign buyer who just bought the shirt made so much profit, right? Compare it to the profit made by the other people in this channel. This actually makes us discuss about the question of equality in a market. Think from the beginning. Farmers were involved, but farmers were not given a lot of money for the cotton balls that they produce after a lot of labor. Think about the workers that were employed by the workers and also the weavers employed by the trader. So even they were not paid a lot of money, right? The trader himself made some money, no doubt, and the garment factory also made some money, but the largest amount of money in all this scenario was made by the foreign buyer. The foreign buyer did not manufacture the good at all. He only bought the good from the garment factory, and the garment factory who had bought the cloth from the trader. So you see, a lot of actual work in the manufacturing of the shirt has been done by the farmer, the weaver, the workers, and even the trader in negotiating with all of them. But the largest share of profit is made by the foreign buyer. And this makes us question whether or not there is equality in the distribution system or not. It makes us realize that people who can spend more, who can make larger investments and spend money on advertising and other facilities, they make a larger share of profit in the market. So we understand through this story of production of a shirt that so many people are involved in the production and distribution of the shirt. But not every player that is involved makes the same amount of profit. Some make large profit due to the large investments that they have, right? So how can we ensure that everyone earns equally or at least proportionately in terms of their efforts? For that, one of the solutions was brought in by this case study of Weavers Cooperative. Weavers Cooperatives, where weavers came together, 80, 100, maybe more than that, and they bought the yarn on a discounted amount, so they were able to increase their profits. Maybe at every stage of production we can have cooperatives. Maybe farmers can also have cooperatives in which they are able to buy the raw materials required for farming in bulk, and with that their profit will increase. Their negotiation power when they are selling the goods to the traders, that will also be strengthened, right? They might be able to negotiate a better price for their output. Government initiatives also help. Like in this example, we studied how the Tamil Nadu government supported the Weavers Cooperative. So through little intervention by the government and better planning, we can ensure that different players in the market earn enough profit, right? So I hope you enjoyed this chapter, and we will meet again in our next video lecture. Thank you so much.